Hey everyone, this is part 4 of Wolves in Sheep's Clothing, my problem with so called modern Christianity, and the basic tenets of our faith. Just, if you haven't seen the last 3 parts, you're going to want to go see them because I'm building on what I'm talking about there. Jumping in right back into what we were talking about before, Deuteronomy 6:5. We were talking and reading from Matthew 22:34 down to about 41, I believe. And we are now sourcing what Yahushua is talking about. The people are amazed, and they're like, you're like, oh, why are they amazed? Why do they know this stuff? It's because these are direct quotes from the law, capital L, and it's in Deuteronomy and in Leviticus. We get the Davarim, the 10. That's not Davarim, that's the 10 Commandments. I forget what it's called in Hebrew. But the 10 Commandments, the 10 statements, the 10 words, that is in Exodus. That happens in Exodus. When they get the tablets, the 10 Commandments, right? That's in Exodus. But they get a whole law. It's not just, it doesn't just end there. Okay? But that's the one that's on the tablets. Okay? Here in Deuteronomy, that's not it. So when people are like, oh, is it just the 10 Commandments? No, they were talking about, he's quoting from Deuteronomy 6:5. Let's read it. And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. Oh, so it's like a direct quote? Yes, it's a direct quote. When he says it here in Leviticus 19:17, here, in 19:18, I'm sorry. Do not seek revenge or bear a grudge against any of your people, but love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord. Okay. So that means I am Yahuwah. Yod He Vahe. What Yod He Wahe or Vahe, where the W is the V and the V is the W. So Yahuwah for me is that's the word that I have come to the conclusion of, the heavenly name of our Father. So, I mean, and the next words right after that is like, you are to keep my statutes. You shall not crossbreed two different types of livestock, and you're not to sow your fields with two kinds of seeds, and you're not to wear clothing made of two kinds of material. And people are like, oh, that's ridiculous. People don't know, two kinds of material. How are we going to live? And it's like, that's referring to not wearing wool and linen together. There's just, things are specific. It's not just like any two types of fabric. It's just so ridiculous. People need to understand that if you just read the actual whole thing, it makes sense instead of just reading a part and just be like, oh, that sounds ridiculous. You're not supposed to fucking let these things crossbreed. Of course not. That's gross. You're not supposed to let, what is this called? You sow a field with multiple seeds, okay? I mean, like a garden is something different. A field is something different from a garden. Wouldn't you agree? That's different from an orchard as well. Isn't that not true? But you're just not supposed to crossbreed them. You're just not supposed to mix, because holy means set apart. The modern word where there's a whole, we're supposed to be, the church is set apart assembly, which is a holy assembly to say, and which is to say a community, which is to say holy is set apart. It's not supposed to be in Babylon, okay? It's not supposed to be doing the same thing, okay? And that's where you have to give credit to Hasidic Jews and Mormons and the Amish, or Amish as I like to say, and the Mennonites. They have a community and they don't mix with just anyone. And the Muslims do the same thing. They don't have problems in their community regarding the faith-based problems. They have their shit in order. How do all these people have this shit in order? Like, you know who doesn't have school shootings? The Amish people. You know who doesn't have school shootings? The Mennonites. And you know how they have guns. It's not like they don't believe in guns. The Mennonites, I think, might not believe in guns. I think they're like pacifists. But the Amish, they believe in guns. I mean, even it's it. The Mormon don't have school shootings, and they have guns. I don't know. Maybe they say they don't have guns. Um, there are all these people that have communities, and they are able to police their own and hold their own standards and make sure that like the people who do bad things are shamed and taken care of, right? Though there are problems in all those communities with different things, as there is everywhere because of, excuse me, hierarchical structure instead of just that is not done here. We all know this isn't done here. Like you don't need everyone to look up. It's like people are always looking for a Moses or a new Jesus or something like that. Like if you just read the law, then you just all know that this is not right and this is not right and this is right and this is right. And people are like, oh, all the law you got, we got all dude the law. That's crazy. That you're breaking my mind, Arthur. That's not true. He said he did away with the law. The law is nailed on the cross. Now I'll agree with you. The law was nailed on the cross because Yahushua was the law. He laid down the law. The word is the law, and that is what was up there. The Torah was nailed up there by the Yahudim in favor of their Talmud. Okay? Not all the Yahudim, but the ones there present, which were Pharisees and Sadducees. It's people of their time. Not everyone now is involved, just like people who are like 300 years removed from slavery shouldn't be blamed for it. Get over it. That some people identify as a Yahudim or some people identify as a Christian and then do evil things does not speak for all of them. There just needs to be a dialogue on the word, the Torah, and if we put things together, there would be none of these disagreements and all of these problems and misunderstandings. But regardless, we're going to go back into Matthew 5:17 and understand that the concept of the law was done away with is not the case. Yes, the law was nailed to the cross because Yahushua was the law, the Torah, the word. So I agree with that, but not in the way people would think. Matthew 5:17, Berean Bible study. Okay? This is, once again, the red text. Scroll down here. Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. For I tell you truly, until heaven and earth pass away, heaven and earth pass away, not a single jot, not a stroke of the pen will disappear from the capital L law until everything is accomplished. Base tenets of our faith. For I tell you truly, until heaven and earth pass away, not a single jot, not a stroke of a pen will disappear from the law until everything is accomplished. This is Matthew. We're going further. 19. So then, whoever breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do likewise will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever practices and teaches them will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I tell you that unless your righteousness exceeds that of the scribes and the Pharisees, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. This is Yahushua, Jesus Christ, speaking himself once again from Matthew, red text. I'm not coming to do away with. I'm not abolishing it. I'm not destroying it. I'm here to fulfill it. Do you understand? Fulfill this. Fulfill it. If you have a contract and you fulfill it, like building a house, once you are done fulfilling it, building it, what do? You give it to the recipient, the contractee. You don't just you don't break it down, dude. This is the fulfillment. This is the full teaching. You need to teach all of it. And people have lost that. Let my alarm going off right then be a sign of to at least of funniness for me, because there's no coincidences. There's no ancient Hebraic concept of coincidences. Why would there be coincidences? Now there's in modern Hebrew there is, but that's a different story. There's no such thing as coincidences. And so we should once again like ring bells should be going off. There should be a particular way. There's a base method to our faith, and it's not madness. It's not just saying, "Oh, I get to do this and this is that way and this is this way and I hate this and I take this part from the Old Testament and I take this part from the Old Testament, but I'm not going to use like, all of it because I mean, it's the progression of time." That's not how that works. That's not how you get an instruction in a rule book. That's what you get. There's not, and if you go through it, it's like don't commit incest, don't commit rape, don't steal. If someone steals something, you pay them and then some. You pay restitution. If someone hurts you and you're fine, then you whatever, dude. But if you can't fucking walk, if you're fucked up, you know what I'm saying? Then they have to pay you the day's wages that you can't work. I mean, obviously, but you're not gonna get some ridiculous litigious. Is that the right word? Litigious society, like litigation, how all this litigation, people trying to get money out of people of all these frivolous lawsuits, gunking up the system and making sure that people can just take money from other people if they're not insured. So now you have to have insurance. The government has a gun to your head and you say you have to have insurance now. You have to pay the premium, which are going up at ridiculous costs while every freaking food object, Gatorade, Pedialyte. I have a Pedialyte here in this box right here that they were putting in all different packages with less packaging because now they're smaller than the ones that I have in the refrigerator from the last batch, which was only a month ago. And people are like, I cannot wait for sports bowl playoffs. Whoa. You're crazy. You're crazy. That's crazy people. That's crazy person talk. That's insanity. No, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. Meanwhile, our brothers and sisters in the faith, if you've made it this far, I hope that you're seeing a reoccurring thing here where I'm pointing to they're talking about the capital L law or the prophets. Do not think I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. Like, there is an important capital L law. There's an important capital L law. Yahushua had been talking about coming back and all this other stuff that he has to accomplish, right? And that he's going to come in the clouds and all this other stuff. This is not just like, oh, after I die and it's accomplished. No, it's actually he's accomplished it when he comes back to life. I mean, he says it's done and then he dies, but then he comes back and that's actually when it's done. No, it's when he comes back in the clouds in Revelation, and that's when it's so this until heaven and earth pass away, not a jot or tittle. Has earth passed away? Has heaven passed away? When is the law going to go? Oh, I did not come here to abolish it. The law will not pass away until heaven and earth pass. Like, how the heck have we gotten so far away from the base tenets of our faith? And this is my problem with modern Christianity, that's also allowing these wolves in sheep's clothing to operate, bearing bad fruit but claiming to come from a good tree because there's no monitoring and saying, oh, well, I know you by your fruit and you're coming from a bad tree and that's not a good person, and no good fruit can come from a bad tree, no bad fruit can come from a good tree, so you cannot claim that and you have to condemn that, right, publicly, which we'll get into the final video, which will be part 5, talking about Paul, and also going to be quoting from James, and how things are supposed to be taken care of. I mean, there's a logical and obviously reasonable way, but obviously because people are so married to, I have to get all what I do from the word. Okay, then let's take the words from the fathers of the church, of the so-called church, right? Like the actual church fathers from the apostles. I mean, that are in your Bible. In the next portion. So if you're sticking through it with me, thank you so much. And God bless. I'll see you in the next one.